Welcome to Jets Chaos. I am Jeremy, and I'm here to bring the chaos. I am, but I'm going to bring much more than that. We're going to talk about the Cincinnati Bengal game coming up and how confident we should be. How confident should we be that we could beat the Bengals? Should we be that confident? I don't know. There's some problems. There's also some not problems, strengths. We're going to talk about all of that. We got a great show coming up. It's all happening right here, right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
One of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take Aquanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
All right, everybody, let's get this baby rolling. Let's say hello to some people in the chat. I appreciate you guys for being here bright and early, ready to go. Russell Scarf, my brother from the same mother. Or did I say that right? Harlan Abraham. What's up, brother? Noel Sains, ready to go. Did I say that right? Or is it Says? I don't know, but it's Noel. I got that part right. Harlan Knob. Jim Page, what's going on? 6 sacks? I hope so. We need to start showing some defensive line. Talking Jets with Tigo, the man, the legend. He's here, ready to go. We got New York Sports Wicker Media, not only in the chat, but you're going to see him right here pretty soon. Christopher Merkovich, what's up, buddy? Kelly Wilson, the Oregon Jets fan. What's going on? You're just north of me. My wife was just in Seattle in the airport, taking off to New York. Snowball, what's going on? Good to see you. Jets fan United in the house all the way in Europe. Not sure if he's still in England or if he worked his way to Italy yet. And if you might say, what's the difference? Europe is Europe. No. If he's in Italy, he's eating good. If he's in England, he's eating baked chicken. Lex Hoaloha, which is interesting because I see that if you're from Hawaii, I mean, you're putting me in a vibe. The vibe is, who am I? Okapono, Hawaii. So if you're in Hawaii, let us know. Dark Soldier, we could start the show now because he's here. I wasn't really going to start. GVH, we met in the parking lot. We ate. We had some good times. Now we're back here in the studio. We're back to our online relationship. Knobcraft sent me tons and tons of hot sauce, guys. I can't wait to try them all. The mustard sauce tastes so yummy. Joe Malone, what's going on? I think I got almost everybody now. Let's see. You're crying laughing. Okay. Adam S., what's going on? Let's go and go to some of our people here. Let's get this going. I'm going to get the music rolling because I can't do this show without my guy. You know, the guy. We all know who he is. But in case you don't know, you're going to find out right now. Okay? Let's give him his music. He is the man who shocked Jet Nation. That's right. We didn't think he was coming to the opening game. We thought he was going down to the Virginia Jets fan club. But on the eve of Coney Island Day, or Cyclone Day, I think we named it, surprise, we had this man, The hot dog eating, Ranger loving, Nick loving, Met loving, Jet loving, trivia giving, green bean appearing, friend of Gunning Dom See Me, Nick Proudshine, Virginia Trail Mix gift giving, the greatest co-host in the world, Watsuke99.
Boy, and you are exactly right. Surprising you, man. I have more trick plays than Mike LaFleur's playbook, and that was the best one I think I've ever pulled. Was a week and a half ago, surprising you and surprising all of Jet Nation in New Jersey. What a fantastic weekend it was. But that was then. That was then. And we know what's going on right now. After a rough game against Baltimore, we even our record of 1-1, and we are right in that hump day period where you're still feeling the excitement of the win over Cleveland, but you're starting to look ahead to the other side of the great state of Ohio, looking down at Cincinnati, which, let's be honest, it's really more Kentucky than anything else. It's more of a Kentucky team. Let's be real. That's where everybody lives. That's where the airport is. You always fly to Kentucky. So who's to say? But we're gonna cover it all for you, just like Sauce Gardner would. Hello, Jeremy. How are you tonight?
What's up, brother? You are on today, huh? You're feeling good after Sunday.
I am feeling very, very good, and I am ready for this next game. A game that early on, it's like, oh no, it's the Mike White revenge game. The Jets can never beat the Bengals. They went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, let's find out on Sunday. All of a sudden, we got a little more confidence than we did before, and we're going to talk about why tonight, or should we not have so much confidence? Well, we got some people on who are going to make sense of it for us.
Yeah. And to Charles Flory out there who's asking, yes, Green Bean, I will be live Sunday unless he is too sick or has another obligation. And if that was to happen, I would do the show myself live on this channel. But as far as I know, Green Bean will be ready to go by Sunday. I have a feeling, a sneaky suspicion people are asking because of that 2-minute video he did. People saw our reaction to that game and said, I got to watch these guys live. But anyway, we have a special guest. We actually have 2 guests. We're going to introduce one of them now. We're waiting for our other guest to be ready. I'll ask him and check in with him in a few minutes. But for right now, let's bring on our special guest. Some people would think a wisecracking guy like me would be in a lot of danger. I might make enemies. So why do I do it? Well, some of us have protection. And I have protection. This is my bodyguard. This is my guy, my friend. I feed him. He protects me. That's how it works. I take care of him and tell him where to go eat. He takes care of me. Nobody comes near me. Nobody touches me. All right? We're the fastest brotherhood born ever in the history of brotherhood. This man is already my brother. His family is already my family. I would take a bullet for them. This man is the YouTube Jet content providing, the Texas representing, the defending our nation, not just him, but his wife too. This is the beefed up, the strong, the mighty, the greatest bodyguard in the world. Gunny Gumby! Let him finish the drink.
Oh,
No, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Having a cold
Yeah, I
water.
was thirsty.
Yeah.
I had to hydrate.
Down there in Houston, I can imagine. How you doing?
Pretty good, man. Pretty good. How y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic, man. I got some taco ideas now from you. I'm excited.
Hey, y'all! I'm telling y'all not gonna regret that recipe. Is one of my favorite go-to recipes. I've made that for Marines, family, anyone you can imagine. I've never been once told that it was a bad recipe. So you guys are in for a treat when you give that a try.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Better than what I did. And Adam will tell you when I try to concoct something.
Oh my lord!
My other
Oh
channel.
man, I got to hear this.
It's one of those videos that children should just be. It should be restricted from children watching. I'll just put it that way.
Oh wow, okay.
I decided to make a quick homemade chili type thing where I used ground
You can't
beef.
do
I
chili
think,
quick, man. I
hot
messed up
sauce.
when you said quick chili.
Well, how about cooking up ground beef, frying up ground beef with hot sauce, and adding a can of honey bacon baked beans and mixing
Oh.
it all.
Come on, Chaos. What? Listen, first of all, man, you're a foodie. I'm offended that you as a foodie would even make the effort to make quick chili to begin with. You knew from jump when you had to put the word quick and chili in the same sentence that just wasn't it, man. That just wasn't it.
Yeah,
It didn't even look like chili. It looked like a sloppy Joe that had been left on the burner all night long.
God, that sounds horrible.
It was like
That sounds absolutely
almost
horrible.
it was almost black. It was just like
it was a big mistake. That's what it was.
Yeah. I can already tell.
I
They
thought
didn't
it
have to
was
see it or experience it.
I thought it was going to be one of those buffalo wing moments. You know the story. They were stuck in a storm. They looked in the freezer. They had wings.
Yeah.
They had butter. They had ranch dressing or blue cheese dressing.
But
I
you
thought it
see-
was going to be one of those
blue
things.
cheese.
The difference is you talking about butter, you know what I'm saying, blue cheese, like those things all kind of go together. They just sound delicious. You said chili, quick chili with honey something baked beans. I don't.
Yeah.
If-
Tomorrow night I'm gonna make some quick ribs and quick brisket.
Oh God, don't please.
How's that
don't.
gonna work?
Ugh, it won't. The thing is, it won't.
No.
Just sadness and regret. Sadness and regret.
Okay, let me see. Oh, okay. So we're all good. We're gonna go with our fourth guest. We have another guest, our fourth person, but our second special guest. And we're gonna go right now. Let me raise the music. I never did this 3 times before, so here we go. Usually it's Nick, and I say he doesn't deserve music, but this guy deserves music. This man, analytical. He's a student of the game, a nerd, a geek, maybe you might say, but he's necessary. When I saw him in real life, he didn't look like a nerd or a geek. He seemed like a really cool dude. I said, I can't believe this guy's friends with us. He looks way too cool. We ate, we had a good time. But let me introduce to you the stat taking, videotape watching, green bean befriending, YouTube special appearance guest on every channel you've ever seen, article writing contributor to greenbeanjetsfan.com, the man, the greatest Sunday co-host in the world. Tom C.
He doesn't get tired. He doesn't get tired at all.
Jen, what is going on, boys?
Hey, what up, Dom?
How are you?
Hey, Dom.
I got a light out, so I'm sorry about that, chat. It's all dark over there. I don't understand what's going on.
Man,
It's all good,
You
man.
got a light out.
Well, you know what? I'm in the process of redoing my basement and kind of making it into my little office / studio. So this weekend we were, cutting down some drywall and running some wires, and I think I didn't connect everything back all that well. So over here we're a little dark. It is what it is.
I love it. I love it. Nope, I have not had any peppermint patties. This is a Wednesday. We're in the middle of the work week. Not for me, everyone. But we have a lot of people saying hello to a lot of people. So everybody, yes, everybody's here. We acknowledge you. Thank you. Thank you for the shout outs to my guests. Thank you for welcoming, the warm welcome for Adam, and then for Gunny, and now for Dom C. We appreciate the warm welcomes. But look, we spent a good 15 minutes getting warmed up here, saying hello to people, getting going. I think the time has come. The time has come that we actually talk about the Jets. So let's talk about the game and the takeaways from last Sunday. So I'm going to start here because I've been holding this in a long time. I haven't had a chance to talk about it. Okay. And I want to make this really clear. I am as happy as anybody, and you could see it if you watch the videos of our victory on Sunday. I really am. It was an amazing, amazing experience. It was a great time. It was a once in a lifetime, possibly, to see that kind of comeback, to have your team experience it, to be live with everybody that was watching, and to be live with Green Bean made it even that more ridiculous and amazing. There was so many great things about it. But, and also, just to break the September thing, tons of positives. Garrett Wilson, I feel like it was the game when Al Toon broke out against Miami when I was a kid, and I knew that we had a special wide receiver. I felt like today was that day again, like on Sunday, living that day over again of, wow, one of our guys we're not just talking about could be special. He is special, and we found a star. And the way he played, it wasn't just like blown coverages and no one paying attention to him in a sneaky one-time thing. We all saw the grace and the beauty in which he ran those routes and made those catches. He's real. There's no question about the fact that he's real. So there's lots of really good positives in that game. But I'm not going to lie. If Nick Chubb falls down after getting that first down and they run out the clock and win, we weren't happy. Okay. The defense was despicable. And here's what really concerns me the most. Unless he's bluffing, unless he's playing, like pretending, if he's not and he's being serious, then I have some serious doubts about our head coach. Because he went into a press conference and said, and acted like he was happy and satisfied with the way the defense played. He made some comments about getting it done, not breaking, not snapping. I don't understand how he could say that. This defense, except for this miracle that happened to happen, which had very little to do with the defense, this defense let us down. And when they had the final chance to redeem themselves, when we were down by 7 and we needed to stop them 1, 2, 3 and get that ball back, let's forget about how the game ended. They couldn't do it. They couldn't make the stop. They knew they were going to run, and they still couldn't stop him. And I don't want to hear him saying, Chubb is good. Chubb is – no. You know the other team is going to run. Okay? This is not Jim Brown. This is not Walter Payton. I don't care who it is. When you know the other team is going to run, you can't sit there and tell me that you're satisfied. We are not doing anything. We're not winning anything. We're not going anywhere as a football team if our defense performs like that, and that's what our defense is. So my biggest concern about it was that he did not acknowledge that, and he was acting like he was watching a different game than we were watching. At least I think, because I think you guys will agree with it, that the defense was not satisfactory. For him to point out 2 drives in the whole game where they stepped up, like at the end of the half and one other drive, that's ridiculous. That's not a good defensive performance when you could point out 2 drives where we stopped them. Is that his bar? That's not a bar to set for a football team. I mean, it's just not good enough. So I'm not trying to be negative on it, but I mean, moving forward, we can't let the victory override that. We still got a serious issue with this team, and that's the defense. So let me pass it to, we'll go around clockwise, and I'll go to my co-host, Adam, and then we'll go to Gunny, and then we'll go to Dom, and you guys weigh in on what I just said.
Okay, thanks for passing it over, because, yeah, I definitely have a couple of things to say about the defense. I thought there were 2 drives where they stepped up, and one of them was the last one of the game, only because Ashton Davis read the play, and they did a very good job of covering the Browns receivers. Davis read Brissett's eyes on his one defensive snap, made his biggest play as a Jet. Great. The one other drive that I thought the defense did a great job on, or at least they stepped up when they had to, I think it was during the third quarter. The Browns had 3 straight plays where they had a first down. It was like 10 yards, 12 yards, boom, boom, boom. All of a sudden, they run Kareem Hunt left side. Quan Alexander blows Hunt up. I mean, you could hear the pop through your television. And then they stopped Chubb for a loss of 3 yards. Next play was, I believe, their 1 sack of the game. So that was the one time I felt the defense really held its ground, was that one drive. But as far as Robert Saleh goes, I am not as concerned as you are for this one reason. Brian Costello of the New York Post asked him today in the press conference, "What's your thoughts on this pass rush?" And he said, he started with 2 ums, and this is the eternal optimist Robert Saleh. He is maybe the most optimistic person that I've ever seen in sports. And he admitted it has to be better. So maybe he was still feeling a little bit of the hangover from the win, like a positive hangover, if there's such a thing, after the victory. But he knows that the defensive line is what is going to make this defense. He knows it has not been as good as it needs to be and certainly not as good as it can be. But now you're starting to face some teams where passing is their bread and butter. We faced 2 run-forward teams first. Now we've got Cincy. Now we've got, Pittsburgh maybe not so much, but you got Green Bay, Buffalo, Miami, teams like that. Teams that are going to live by the pass. These next couple of weeks, we're going to see what this pass rush can really do. And, yeah, I think we're going to really start to see – I want to see Bryce Huff active for one thing. Bryce Huff better be on the field because I haven't been too impressed with a couple of the newcomers that have come along. So, yeah, let me definitely see Bryce Huff for one thing this game.
All right, Gunny.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. The defense was definitely concerning. I think we got the highest, the highest priced defensive line in the NFL, and right now we're 25th in sacks. Right, so personally, I expected more from this roster in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback. Now I understand the game. One, it was of a contained type of defensive scheme. They didn't want to go ahead and give any lanes or broken containment to Lamar Jackson. It makes perfect sense. But Jacoby Brissett is about as statue as a statue comes, right? I mean, he's not the most mobile guy, and I don't think he's got the most arm talent. But they beat us with by 1,000 paper cuts. A lot of those screen passes really did some damage to us this past Sunday. But I do want to say this, man. There was some good. I do like the fact that, people aren't talking about this, but Carl Lawson did have a 28% pressure rate this past weekend. Granted, it didn't result in sacks. You won't see that obviously in the stat board, but that was that was the second highest pressure rate in the entire NFL over the weekend, right? So he's still kind of getting going. You saw Coach Saleh allude to the fact that he's still coming off of a little bit of, I'm not saying like he's still hurt or anything like that, but there's some rust that's still there, right, with that Achilles injury. I expect to see Carl Lawson go ahead and turn it up. I do like what we're seeing in our secondary, man. DJ Reed and of course Sauce Gardner. Now our safety room. Whitehead, I think he's not playing to the level that I think he can play. But again, that's maybe he's still injured. He's still injured right now. Like we know he came into that game kind of hobbled. I'm not making excuses for this team because you're right 100%. They need to show us more, right? And as Adam just stated, we are going into a time frame now where we can start seeing these guys kind of pin their ears back and get after the quarterback with more pass friendly offenses. I think it starts this Sunday, man. I think it starts this Sunday against the Bengals. The Bengals right now have the 31st worst offensive line in terms of allowing sacks and pressure rate. We're not too crazy, like 22 or something like that in terms of pressure rate and getting to the quarterback. So this is a perfect example or a perfect opportunity for us to see what this defensive line can truly do. We should feast. We should literally feast this Sunday against that offensive line to get to Joe Burrow. Now, if we're leaving this Sunday and we're talking about a defensive line that gets 1 sack, even 2 sacks, I think we need to really reevaluate, like, okay, is it the scheme? Because the talent is there across the defensive line. So is it the scheme? Is Ulbrich not calling the right plays? Because this should be the game where we see these guys pin their ears back and do what this defense is made to do, which is get after the quarterback. But yeah, there's some concerns to be had. Obviously, it wasn't pretty. We got the W, but it wasn't pretty. It was more on the offense and the special teams, definitely. But I'm with Adam on this one. I think, you know what? Let's see what these guys can really do right now when we're not facing these run-heavy teams, and we kind of like have to go off script from what our defensive scheme is made to do, which is get after the quarterback.
Yep. What up, Dom?
Very well said, Gunny. I gotta say, because I agree wholeheartedly. Now, I will say this: it is what it is. Like, I'm not going to try to put lipstick on a pig, if for lack of better. We did kind of lose some gas and kind of tire out, and the fourth quarter wasn't what the rest of the game was. But I think DJ Reed said it best. I'm sure everyone saw the post game stuff in the locker room after Flacco walks in and hugs Saleh, and they all start going crazy, and then they cue into DJ Reed, and he said, hey, he said, this is I paraphrase, and he said, this is a great team. He's like, I believe in every single one of you. He said, offense, you did your thing today. He's like, I can't wait until we see, both sides put it together. And that's exactly what it was. So if you remember Baltimore, after the kind of the pain and the stuff wore off that we all went through, the emotion wore off of really, getting shellacked. We could say, hey, we hung our hat on the fact that the defense played well. They schemed well. We did everything we could and hold Lamar Jackson and, arguably one of the best, running games in check. Yes, we got beat, pretty handedly. There was a couple big plays, a couple miscommunications. LaMarcus Joyner forgot how to play football, I guess, in his year off. That was going back that game. So, but I think if you take anything positive out of week one, so our defense played well. I don't think our defense was awful against Cleveland. I don't think it was. And again, I'm not. I'm not saying this disrespectfully towards you. I don't think it's as bad as Jeremy feels, and you're entitled to feel that way. I just don't think it was that different. Somebody posted it in the chat earlier. I don't know who it was, but I think it's so apropos for what the Jets deal with. I think sometimes they get too far caught in that bend and don't break mentality.
Yes, bend don't break.
Yep, 100%. 100%.
Bend don't break mentality, and you know what? We bend and we bend and we bend until we break. Now I think there's reasoning behind that. I'm not ready to kick Solid to the curb. I'm not ready to kick Ulbrich to the curb. But I think like minds have to get on the same page here, right? I think instead of saying the defense was as bad as it looked, I think we have to kind of tip your cap to a very, very well put together, solid offensive line. Two heavy hitters in the backfield. Guys who have played together. That whole entire offense, sans Jacoby Brissett, has been together for quite a few years now. Stefanski, he's an offensive-minded coach. He's got good assistants in there, so they have a very good scheme. They have a nice little thing they got going on there. So, I think we just got a little too passive. I would have liked to see the defensive line do more, so on and so forth. But I think everyone was, and I saw it the most as I watched and rewatched the tape. I saw it the most, not so much up front and not so much in the back. I saw the difference in the level of play at the linebackers. CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams, even Quan did not play nearly as well as they did in week one. They were a little bit passive. They were a little bit, a step behind to reads and so on and so forth. And I think that was, again, probably because they were gearing down towards one singular focus as whatever we're going to do, we're going to stop the rush and just don't get beat deep, right? We'll give up the stuff underneath. We'll give up, we'll bend, we'll give you the 3, 4, 5 yards. And when you get caught on your heels or when you're, a step behind in giving up 3, 4, 5 yards, those turn into 6, 7, 8, 10 yards, just like Adam was talking about, first down after first down after first down. So I'm not ready to blow the whistle and panic yet. I'm going to feed off of what I saw in week one. And that was that, with the right scheme in place, they can be a dominant defense. It wasn't our best performance. And listen, any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, anything can happen. So
facts.
Sometimes, sometimes their best meets your not so best, and that's what's going to come about. So there was moments that, I felt very good. There was, like I said, I think Gunny talked about it, or maybe Adam. I don't know how much more we can ask or ask of these cornerbacks that we have out there. DJ Reed is
they've been amazing.
Is playing, he's playing lights out. Sauce, yes. He let up that touchdown to Amari Cooper. I don't know if that was so much him or if that was miscommunication. If Whitehead was supposed to pick him up on that, but even so, yeah, he let up. They let up 5 receptions, 45 yards. And
33.
Yeah, something like that. Not
33.
much.
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
They're playing so far above the bar, You know,
Well,
we need
the cornerbacks are great. No one can't
the
complain.
quarterbacks
Yeah.
are great. The defensive line, you know, we're not seeing the sacks, you know, but and I've said this before. I think the sack itself is it's such an overrated stat in sense, you know. I'll take 10 pressures over 5 sacks any day of the week, right? And I think we're doing that. Q is doing the do. You know, he's playing great. Lawson, Gunny said it well. Lawson, you know, very quietly had a very, very good game, you know, rushing the passer. Not so much against the run. You know, he was, I mean, I watched him get blown off the ball by some of these pulling guards, like, you know, time after time, you know, but hey, listen, we pay him $15.5 million to get after the quarterback, right? We got Jermaine Johnson and we got Michael Clemens and we got JFM in there to really shut down and solidify the run. So I like the pieces that I'm seeing. And I don't think we've seen it all come together yet, you know?
No.
Well,
and I don't think
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to see. I think we need to see the offense from Sunday at some level.
And
One day with Zach
defense
Wilson running it
from the
with
first
the
game.
defense from the first game, right? And then also work on some of the mistakes in that first game to close down the big plays. I mean, like, and it's all possible, right? Like,
Oh yeah,
there were some big plays we gave up in the first week. We wish we could have back. Imagine we trim those away. We play at the level we did week 1. And then offensively, whether it's Zach or Flacco at quarterback, we have what we had, you know, this past Sunday, where we have, you know, great, you know, solid balanced play from the offense. I think we've been waiting a long time. I don't think we had a single game, even the games we won last year. I don't know if we had a full, complete game like that. Like a game where we don't come down to the wire, but a game that we just win 24-6. You know what I mean?
just blow them out. Just blow them out.
We just get a game where everything just comes together and we get a glimpse of what we can be, because we've seen it individually. We've seen the flashes from the defense in a game, flashes of the offense. I just want it all at the same time, you know. Like, so I'm gonna push this. This seems like more like a Dom C question in my opinion. So I'm gonna push this question towards him, and then maybe Adam might want to chime in. I know Adam is I don't know about you, Gunny. This is not my kind of question as much, because I am not I'm not as technical I'm not as technical with the positions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's pass these to these two guys. Let them do what they do.
Yeah.
So any chance you guys like to see Eccles in the slot and MC2 at free safety? You think he takes it over the top? So I'll touch on the second part of it first. So Michael Carter played safety in college. You know, he also played cornerback, you know, but he was very much what, if anyone remembers Daxton Hill from Michigan last year, first round draft pick, Cincinnati Bengals. He was pretty much Daxton Hill light when he was in college. You know, he was a cornerback that they moved back to free safety, that came up and played the slot, kind of played in that rover position where he could be up at the line and man up, also played that deep middle very well. So to that point, I could see Michael Carter absolutely being able to handle the position. He has the skill set to be a free safety. I don't know if he has the build and the overall tackling prowess to really excel and be a higher level, dare I say, elite level free safety in the NFL. On top of it, his man skills are just so good. You know, I think actually Michael Carter II is one of the unsung heroes of this Jets defense. He flies under the radar and he just comes in there and does his job. And there's something to be said about, you know, having that slot cornerback that you don't have to worry about. It gives Ulbrich and Saleh the opportunity to really, you know, play their, you know, to mix and match and play their zones, and bring in and you know, flip the preference and push the cloud out to the left one way, knowing that Michael Carter is just going to lock down on that slot spot. So I think his skill set in the NFL is 100% as a nickel cornerback, slot cornerback. But he could, he has safety bones in him. He could do it in a pinch. I'm sure he could. He did it in college. So he's much more NFL ready as a man-to-man slot cornerback. Now Eccles, on the other hand, or Adam, I'll pass the Eccles point to you, if you'd like. Sure.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll talk about Eccles for a moment. So even going back to his high school days, he primarily played outside. And then even in 2020, he did play a little bit in the slot, but he allowed 12 catches on 13 targets when he was a slot cornerback. Mm-hmm. I think he was projected to be a little bit more suited to play the slot because he's not the tallest player in the world, and he didn't have the longest arms. So when that's the case, they typically like to shift those players over to the slot. Mm-hmm. But Eccles really showed. I was so impressed with the way he came into that game cold, and he was covering tight ends. He was covering Harrison Bryant. He was covering David Njoku when Sauce went out for a couple of plays, and I was like, well, they may as well target Eccles now, and they did. And Eccles definitely held up his share of the load. So, you know what? If he could keep covering tight ends like that, you know what? I would almost put Eccles not as the slot, but I'd rather see him as a free safety than as a slot because I think he could cover those types of players.
Yeah. Listen, I think Eccles did a great job. Listen, he came into the game when Sauce came out and Cleveland picked up on it and they went right at him. And you know what? He drew a line in the sand and said, come on, motherfuckers, let's go. And he did his job. Now, Eccles, the one thing about him, and I'm going to respectfully, kind of disagree with what Adam's saying. I think Eccles is meant to be on the outside because the one thing that he does, the one thing that he doesn't have is he doesn't have those his body movements. He's not as fluid as someone like Sauce or DJ Reed. He doesn't have those buttery hips. He doesn't flip open and get back. What he does very well is he knows his surroundings. He uses the boundary very, very well, which I think, kind of places him as an outside boundary cornerback, perfect for the zone scheme. Listen, could he get away and, in a pinch, if there's injury after injury, could you lock him in as a slot or a nickel cornerback? Absolutely. I think you could. I don't think it's ideal. I think you're going to have to scheme around him or the offense is going to really, scheme at him. Could he go back to a free safety? He's probably, in the pecking order of emergency free safeties. He's probably, his number is going to get called. I don't know if it's going to get called first. I think there's, obviously right now we have two guys. We have our two starting safeties. You have Ashton Davis. You have Michael Carter, who would probably in a pinch get the call before Brandon Eccles, but I think he could do it as well. But I think he's best suited using the boundary as his friend, as an outside cornerback. I was utterly impressed for the little that he played on defense to, come in here, strap his chin strap on and make two plays, man. Make two big plays for us,
Yeah.
And I'm
That's
not
not getting
arguing.
enough
I believe
love.
his best spot is outside as well.
Yeah.
So I do agree with that perspective. Yeah, go ahead, Gunny.
Yeah, no, I was just saying like that. Those two plays weren't getting enough love. Like he legitimately prevented a touchdown while freaking Sauce Gardner was getting looked at. Like that's props all day. So I'm just glad you kind of brought that up, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to say hello to some people in the chat that joined us late. Jets mess. Always good to see you, brother. John Nolte, Salty Nolte, Twisted. I want to shout out Feed the Fat Rabbit. I love that name. Sean McAteer is back. What's going on, brother? It's good to see you. He is the defender of Temecula. I'll never forget. An Iowa Jets fan is here. Our friends.
Butthole.
Butthole. We got to hang out with Snowball. He was at the
what up, Sean?
Cyclone. Brian Goldstein's here. What's going on, Brian? Good to see you as well. Let's see. I just want to make sure we got everyone. Eminon is here. What's going on, brother? So a bunch of people. J. Cole jumped in after the show started. Cameron, obviously, we highlighted his question.
Nolte's here. What's up, Nolte?
Yep. Just want to welcome everybody. Make sure everybody we see you out there. We appreciate you being here. We'll try to get to as many questions as we can. So thanks, guys. Clutch is even here as well, by the way. Clutch, congratulations on 2-0. The Chiefs look really good.
By the way, we don't have to dwell on this, but I'm just curious. I just got some interesting news on Twitter. Anybody a basketball fan or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Boston Celtics coach Ime Udoka is facing possible disciplinary action, including a significant suspension for an unspecified violation of organizational guidelines. Talks are ongoing with the Celtics for a final determination. This could be an interesting story. Not to dwell on it, but I thought it was pretty big sports news.
We'll check it out.
Any Celtics fans out there, not a good day for you.
Okay. No, that's interesting. It's always interesting. We love a good story like that. It's always fascinating to hear a good story.
When it's not one of our teams, absolutely.
As long as it ain't one of our teams, it's interesting to see.
Okay. So, hey, by the way, I do want to say that Eccles did a really good job for the few plays he came in. I thought that he definitely showed. I mean, it was a little, it wasn't a ton, but I'm saying it's nice to have that depth, right? I mean, do you think that just before we move on to next week, I'm just curious, the fact that they made Bryce Hall inactive, do you think he's in the doghouse? Did he do something wrong? Because I know he had a bad preseason game where people were worried. He obviously got roughed up a bit in game 1. But he had a really good year last year, right? Like last year, he was pretty solid. Mm-hmm. What do you think is going on? Is he in the doghouse?
Nah, I mean, okay. So Bryce Hall is not going to help you in the run game. He didn't help you in the run game last year. We've got enough individuals right now that could be impact players in terms of slowing down or, guarding the wide receivers that those guys had. I think, honestly, they just wanted to go ahead and bring in an extra run stopper into the game, vice using Bryce Hall. I don't think he's in the doghouse. And again, I know a lot of other people are giving him static for that play where he gave the touchdown in Baltimore, but what else could he have done? Like, when you watch it over and over again, he was on the hip of Duvernay. Duvernay just made an incredible catch, and it was a pretty throw. Like, Hall really couldn't have done anything else except for get a pass interference to go ahead and stop that play. So I know, like, when we were watching it live, we all got pissed off because, like, of course, we're emotional Jets fans. We saw it live. But when we calmed down and went back and watched the tape, I was like, damn, that was really good coverage. There was really nothing else he could have done to prevent that touchdown. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch. But no, I don't think he's in the doghouse. I think right now it's in terms of the run game. They knew this was going to be a team that was going to attack us via the run, and they just wanted to bring more individuals that could be impactful in that game. That's why I think he was the inactive.
Yeah, and it's not. I agree. I agree with that sentiment because it's not like they said, "All right, you know what, Eccles is now gonna." Remember, of the 60 some odd plays, snaps taken on defense, Eccles was in for three plays.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's not like they said, Bryce Hall, you let up a touchdown, you're canned, go inactive, so on and so forth. I think they just, like Gunny said, they needed to put in some, make somebody else active or keep somebody else active. I think it was Marcel Harris who was inactive week 1 and became active week 2, correct?
That's right.
That's correct. Yep, that's right.
So I don't think it was necessarily Hall is in the doghouse. I think it's more so, hey, they had some sort of plan or scheme for having Marcel Harris there. Maybe it was more so, because they didn't know the extent or how much Whitehead was going to play. So if Whitehead was going to be out, not that Marcel Harris would hop in and play strong safety, but maybe they would do some shifting, have an extra, linebacker on the field or some sort of schemes with Marcel Harris, who, is a linebacker / safety / hybrid kind of guy.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it's just hard to imagine that Bryce Hall's game went to hell after 2 years, where he had 2 solid years. And he's one of those players that the Jets would profile. They would put him on social media. They would put him on One Jets Drive. They'd put him on Flight. You'd see him there with his fiance or wife, his new kid. Very intelligent, very articulate. Seemed like a guy who had a very good head on his shoulders. Was going to work hard. We know he came back from some very serious injuries at Virginia, which is the only reason the Jets were able to get him in the 5th round of the 2020 draft. It is but he played every snap on defense, I believe, last season for the Jets when he was healthy. Every single
100%.
snap. And now it has to be a bit of a blow to his ego that the Jets drafted a cornerback with their top pick, number 4 overall, and gave money to a starting defensive back who both of whom I hate to say are better than him.
By far.
It does have to, it has to absolutely be a blow to him. And I can't blame him for feeling down, but it is very hard to explain. And I feel like I don't want to overemphasize one preseason game because it's a freaking preseason game. I mean, if we're gonna be as harsh on him for that, we should be just as excited about Chris Streveler, just by the same level. It was Kyle Pitts who did most of the torturing, and Pitts is a great athlete.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to kill Bryce Hall for not covering a tight end. And again, I agree with Gunny. The coverage on Duvernay was very, very good. And that was one of Hall's only 5 snaps that he has played this year. Yeah. Eccles came in and did a great job, but we're going to find out over the next couple of weeks exactly where Bryce Hall stands with this organization. I'll be interested to see his snap count, but it's like I told you guys earlier this week. This past week you had no Hall in the lineup, you had no Huff in the lineup. The Jets' performance on Sunday was literally Bryceless. That is horrible, and I'm aware of it.
No. That was a nice pun. Nice pun.
Tip your waiters and try the veal.
So J. Cole
or the chicken cutlets. Yeah, we know.
So J. Cole is asking Gunny, do you think Sauce will be able to contain Jamal
Chase?
Chase,
Jamal
yeah.
Chase.
He
Chase?
said it wrong,
All
but
right.
Jamal Chase. That's who he's talking about.
He can contain Jamal Adams, I'm sure. He will be able to
all day.
Yeah.
All day. Wow. So, all right, J. Cole, good question. So for me, in all actuality, I would rather DJ Reed be on Jamar Chase. Like if we had to go ahead and game plan for that game, I would prefer DJ Reed on Jamar Chase. And the reason why is this. Jamar Chase is an exceptional athlete, man. Like an exceptional athlete. The dude did things last year that we were kind of sitting there and all like, wow, we thought we had it figured out with the fact that he had a really bad training camp and a really bad preseason. The kid lit it up. I don't want to throw our guy Sauce Gardner on this guy, and say, hey, stop him while we go ahead and get pressure on the court. Now, again, consider me babying our prize asset in Sauce Gardner. I think to throw the kid in there right now to one-on-one with a guy like Jamar Chase, who's already played in the league, and we've already seen him do some disrespectful things to some of the top DBs in the league. Why put our young guy out there right now to go ahead and figure out Jamar Chase? I would put him on T. Higgins. And I'd make DJ Reed follow Jamar Chase around. He has more experience. He understands the leverage and the cushion he's going to need to go ahead and compete with a guy like Jamar Chase. I'm not saying we're going to stop Jamar Chase this week. I don't really know if you can stop a Jamar Chase. I know last year we did pretty good. I think Bryce Hall did a pretty good job in doing it. But in terms of Jamar Chase this week, I do believe there is something to say about these guys are coming in right now, and they're pissed off. They're pissed off. I mean, they were considered to be playoff favorites, potentially Super Bowl favorites coming into this season. They're 0-2. They're 0-2. I'd put DJ Reed on Jamar. I would, and I would put T. Higgins or Sauce on T. Higgins. Not saying that Sauce wasn't up to the challenge. I don't know. I want to protect that asset in terms of best matchups. I think DJ Reed has more of a veteran understanding of that playbook, of that scheme, and against a guy like Jamar Chase to go ahead and potentially be more impactful in slowing him down.
And I like the idea of Michael Carter on Tyler Boyd. I think that's going to be a very interesting contest in the slot.
Yeah. That's a good one.
So to Gunny's point, I don't think that the Jets, I mean, at least in the first 2 games, and if Saleh's history kind of plays itself out like it has, I think they're going to stick with their sides. And Reed has stayed on the right side, and Sauce has stayed on the left side.
You're right.
For the most part. I would be surprised, and this is what I would do if I was Zach Taylor. I would put Chase. What I would do is I would move him in the middle, kind of maybe. I wouldn't be surprised, I'll say this much, if we see Tyler Boyd lined up more out of the slot and outside on his left side, which is DJ's right side, because Tyler Boyd is one of the top 5 blocking wide receivers in this league. And I think DJ Reed is probably one of the top 5 tackling defensive backs that they have out there. I mean, he's a stout against the run. So I think you play your power versus power. I mean, not every lineup, but I wouldn't be. Not every rotation. They play a lot. They play a heavy 11 personnel. So the three are out there a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Jamar Chase going in motion. He's that move receiver, and he ends up sometimes in the slot with Tyler Boyd, then manned up with DJ Reed, and then forcing the run that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
So moving over to that was a nice transition because it got us talking about the Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
Dom C actually has some tape. Are you ready to
oh snap? Here we go.
Portion so we could actually do some scouting here and see what's going on. Maybe you can
So listen, in getting kind of looking at what we have moving forward, I kind of wanted to really, really take a deeper dive into what Cincinnati's doing. And, just on paper alone, we know Cincinnati was a Super Bowl player last year. And I think that they're a good team. I'm not denying that, but it's one of these teams that matches up very well for us. Our strengths or what should be our strengths, can match up very well against how Cincinnati does. Listen, Gunny said it well. I don't think you can, to take Jamar Chase completely out of game is probably not going to happen. I mean, those three wide receivers are, as good as they get. Yeah, they're as good as they get, because you can shut one of them down and the other two can still step up, so on and so forth. As an entire offensive unit, they are struggling. And I think that they're, from what I saw in the games that I watched, obviously I watched the Pittsburgh game and I really, really dove a little bit deeper into the Dallas game. And that's what I'm going to pull up for you guys. I think their offense is running very, very odd. Like Zach Taylor is not doing Zach Taylor stuff. He comes from that LA Rams tree, the Shanahan, he's a Shanahan disciple or comes from the Rams offense. But they are playing like they are undisciplined. They're not communicating. I mean, we all know and we all see the numbers. We see what the line is. They spent a lot of capital this year trying to build up the line. They brought in Austin Corbett. Was it Austin Corbett?
Alex Cabot, the guard from Tampa.
For the
La'el Collins from Dallas.
They brought in La'el Collins to play right tackle.
We didn't even practice today with a back injury, by the way. We don't even know if he's playing.
They drafted a guard in the mid rounds. Who was it? I forgot who that was, but they drafted a guard in the mid rounds.
I'll find it. I got the depth chart.
Yeah, I think it was
Jackson Carman, Max Sharping is one of those two. Cordell Volson's their starting
left guard.
Volson,
yeah.
There it is.
Cordell Volson, okay, he's their starting left guard.
Yeah, starting left guard. He was a 3rd or 4th round pick. Jackson Carman was a 1st round or 2nd round pick last year. He was a big old tackle from Clemson that they moved inside and still hasn't been able to cut it. So, their line has been decimated. And the way that they played the first 2 games, I mean, I think 12 total sacks they've let up in 2 games.
13, actually.
13 sacks.
There you go. So, Joe Burrow looks a little bit off, and I read something which I thought was very interesting. I'm just going to throw this out there, just food for thought. There was a guy. He's a nationally known, syndicate writer, and he wrote this whole story on how the rise and hoopla of Joe Burrow is nothing more than what Linsanity was in New York. Wow. Very good for a short term. But really,
I read that article too.
From afar, it was a lot better than when you got down to it. Nothing that was sustainable.
Yep, I read that article too.
Did you?
Yeah, and believe it or not, like again, I have Joe Burrow. I have him like 4 fantasy football leagues. I really believe this dude's the real deal. Read the article and I sat there and I was like, man, a lot of the things he did well, extremely well. It's not sustainable. You can't play NFL football like that. Like it's just not sustainable. Again, like Linsanity, when he was going off doing what he was doing, when freaking defenses were like, oh, okay, we see you, dog. They stopped him. He became almost irrelevant overnight. Yeah. And I thought it was a really impressive article in comparison. So that's interesting you brought that up, Don.
Yeah. So but everything just looks out of whack. Even some of the, just some of the tactics that they're going about, it's a Shanahan style offense, right? So that it's going to be predicated on an outside zone scheme based run with play action pulling forth off of that. Last game they ran 3 play action passes. So everything that they've done so far is quick sets or five not even quick sets, 5 to 7 step drops that the line is not holding up, which is, hence causing a lot of problems. You got Joe Burrow in collapsing pockets, trying to, evade or elude would be tacklers or rushers in his face, and the timing of that whole offense is going off. I think it has a lot to do. I think Cincinnati has a big coaching problem on their hands. So I'm going to touch on some of that stuff, but I'm going to go into first. And first, I just want to make sure. Let me share my screen here. And you guys, oh wait, I can't do it that way. Let me do it this way. Share screen.
Yep, I just got to then share it.
Okay. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, I'm gonna put it up right now. Hold on. I think I have to put it up there. So
okay.
Wait. Where is it? There it is. All right.
There we go. Here it comes.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
We can.
Yes. Now we can. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start on the defensive side of the ball for Cincinnati, because very much like the Jets, they run a very similar skill. They're a 4-3 base, a lot of heavy zone. They have that same. They've been playing with that same very soft bend but don't break mentality. That's what I got out of the first 2 weeks. Very, very similar to what we have. Their defense is predicated that they get after the quarterback, with their edge. They've done a phenomenal job against the run this year. I think they're rated 11th right now against the run, but they've just been awful against the pass. So I'm going to start here, and we have, as they line up here. Can you guys see this moving here?
Yep, I see it.
Yep, we can.
Are you with me?
We can see it. Yes.
Okay. Yep. So they're showing, obviously they're showing, a lot of pressure up the middle here. A little mug defense, 2 deep zone. That's what they're showing. That what they want to do is, they got Cooper Rush here, and we know that Cooper Rush is the backup quarterback, young kid for Dallas. So what they're trying to do is and I don't blame them for this. They're trying to just confuse the quarterback. So they come up here. They're saying, hey, we're putting everyone on the line. Looks like they're going to bring pressure right up the middle through these A gaps with these backers in a normal 2 deep set. And he's pressed down here on the bottom. He's up top here. And as you go, I want you to watch this safety here, if you can see him.
Is that Jesse Bates?
It is not Jesse Bates. Jesse Bates is back here. So this is their strong safety. So as the play goes, what happens? They go from that 2 deep middle, that 2 deep look, and they drop back, and they're only rushing the 4 things. So they have 4 under with 1 single high. So they showed 2 deep man, and they flipped it into a 4 under zone here. Okay. Now here's the quarterback. And, the defensive line, they need to get pressure up here with the defensive line. They're trying to confuse the young quarterback. The progression's going through. Let me back it up. Hang on. Sorry. This is the play before. And as they go here, they're showing too deep. The safety moves up, and now they're in a flat zone. They're in a 4-under zone here. The quarterback sees the man-to-man. He sees the press here, but he's not really pressing. They're playing true zone here. Quarterback, as he goes, sees his read, tries to hit him. He thinks he's in man-to-man, but the guy stays behind him. Incomplete pass. So as we go forward one play here from a different look, this is the same look. You see the linebackers here. They're going to show blitz. They drop back into the zone. That, makes the quarterback forced to play. Good. Here's the same look again. Okay? Safety comes up. They roll out. And what do? Boom. Right there. I want to rewind that. This is what we need to really harp on here. The best way to beat this is to get over that 4-under zone, right? Why isn't it playing? Here we go. The quarterback, this is the first play. Quarterback sees the progression, thinks it's man. He misses it. They line up in the same look here, and they say, okay, so he's not in the zone. They know they're going to drop off, and look at this deep middle. Wide open.
Oh, okay.
Wide open. So all they did, they know that they're – oh, man, I keep going too far back. I hate this thing here. So now he knows the look. He sees the safety creeping up, and he knows he's going to have space right here. And look what the play does. The play brings somebody right into that flat zone, which is why I think, LaFleur and our tight ends are really going to be are really going to have to scheme very, very well their pass, their routes and so on and so forth to put our receivers in those soft spots right off the get-go. This big middle that we just saw, the middle of that defense is going to be wide open if they continue with this bend, don't break. Here's our soft. We're going to give you what you can underneath. And go here. I want to move forward here to one more. 413. Sorry.
26.
So I want to line this up here. Okay. So now we're in the red zone, right? And this is what's called this. Here's your base 4-3 defense, right? It's your 4 down linemen. You got your 3 linebackers. They're in. This is what they call the over, right? So the defensive end over here is the strong side. This is where the tight end is, right? So the 3 tech is on the opposite side. He's over from the strength of the defense. This Mike linebacker here is really, this outside linebacker, the weak side linebacker is really meant to roam free on this defense, right? So they're showing the 4-3. Look how far off this defensive back is right here, right? Other cornerbacks over here. This cornerback's home. He's honing in here. He's honing in here. He's getting 10 yards of cover. He's getting 10 yards of cushion here. So this tells the quarterback right here, Cooper Rush, right off the bat, that with the off coverage, that this is some sort of zone, and that's exactly what it is. What they're doing is they're dropping this guy back here. This safety is going to take this zone. This safety is going to take this zone, and this guy is going to be on a man match. So it could be quarters where he could play in the zone, or he could man up on this guy depending on the route that he takes here and what he does. Sometimes he'll come in. He'll try to chip down here and go here. Sometimes if he drops deep back, this cornerback will drop back here. So this is a prototypical base cover 4 with a man match here. This guy's man matching. So since he's really stout against the run, right? We said that already. These 4 guys are really tough to run against. Look how much cushion we have here. So what does Cooper Rush do? Boom. Swings it, puts the ball on the playmakers. First down. right? That's what we're going to need to do. Stuff like that is we're going to have to put the ball in our playmakers' hands because lining up and let's see if I can rewind it a little bit. 413, 49, 426. Lining up and trying to run against this defense has not been very, very beneficial to anybody that's doing. So you use the pass as your run game here, and that's exactly what you have to do against this type of defense. If the cornerback's going to be off you 10 yards, right? And I'm going to try to rewind it to 413 where they set up again so we can see it. You have all this space here. This linebacker is going at the snap. He would have to break really hard here to catch this and have any negative gain or not have a positive gain for the offense. And he's not going to do that because with the quarter defense, this guy in this zone, this guy in this zone, this guy in this zone, and him kind of lurking here, either playing the flats or the deep corner here. If he were to break here, you're leaving this whole middle open. This guy could just come across here again. This cornerback is basically predicated. What he's doing is predicated on what this receiver is doing right here. So these guys all have the hook zone right here in the middle. You have all this space here. So instead of pounding the run against a very stout interior defensive line, you're gonna swing the ball out and get positive yardage that way. So this is going to be, Dallas's way of running the ball. Boom. Now, how many times I could see that? I could see a play like that. You put the ball in Garrett Wilson's hands. You put the ball in Elijah Moore's hands. With 10 yards of room in front of them. I'll take that 10 out of 10 times. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I would love to see Garrett going up against one guy, throw him the ball and see what happens.
All freaking day.
Right.
And don't forget the running backs. Yeah, I could see these passes to Hall and Carter also. Hopefully not Ty Johnson. Hopefully
you throw Bryce Hall out there and you're going to try to go one-on-one against him. Yeah, sometimes you'll make the tackle and it will only get 4 yards. I'll take that. But then there are times if he breaks it, he's gone.
Yeah. So on this play, I believe they bring some pressure in. No, they don't. This is not the one. I'm just letting this go for a minute because they're going to get into the touchdown play next, which is the next thing I want to talk about. So again, positive yardage. They're gaining 3-4 yards at a clip. Okay, so here we are.
Bend, don't break.
They're bending and don't break. Okay, so what are they showing here? They have a base nickel defense in, right? They're showing 2 deep safeties, right? They got the cornerback here on this island. They got this cornerback here on the tight end, and they got the nickel. They got the nickel lined up, pressed and man. So I think this is and what do? Boom. They bring the nickel in. They try to bring an extra guy. They bring a little bit of pressure, and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Boom.
Oh, they're ready for
perfect play action. Look at this wide receiver, right?
Oh,
look at this wide receiver. I'm going to bring that back. This is really what Cincinnati should be doing on offense that they're not. A little misdirection. This is the play before. Little misdirection, play action pass against the opposite side of the run. See, they brought the tight end here. You saw it. They brought the tight end there to pick up that nickel blitz, and there was nobody in that deep middle. So it just set the cross right up. That was an awful throw. Great catch by the receiver. Touchdown. Bend and don't break, like I said. I'm going to bring that back one more time.
Wow, you could run that with Elijah or Garrett. No one's
or Garrett.
Up. Yeah, it doesn't matter who.
Or Barrios.
You could do Barrios.
The weapon options we have is ridiculous.
Yeah. We got speedsters. I mean, any of those can, like, if they get that kind of coverage, will across the field get a couple of steps.
So all Dallas, like I said, what Dallas did, there it is, I mean, maybe not on this play, but they put the ball in the hand. They got the ball in the hands of their playmakers as soon as possible. They didn't run the ball very well. They weren't very effective. Neither was Pittsburgh. But they put the ball in the hands of their playmakers in space. And that's what Cincinnati's defense has done. There's way too much open field, way too much space here. Now, I applaud Cincinnati getting aggressive. They're not getting at the quarterback with these 4 guys, so they're going to bring the nickel guy, and this safety here is going to really have responsibility for this slot guy. But what does he do? He breaks in this way, leaves it wide open, right? Because this safety up here has to tend to that tight end, and that leaves the whole half of the field wide open. So it's a great play design by Dallas. And the offense does enough. They put the quarterback in motion and give him enough space to make a play.
That was Jesse Bates at safety.
Yeah.
It was. That was Bates.
Listen, and it's not enough. Listen, Bates did everything they could. It was just, Dallas schemed together a really good play. So I think that we're going to really need a strong game plan from Mike LaFleur, and I thought he did a great job in Cleveland on putting together routes that put his guys open in space.
Best positions. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
The route trees that the guys ran put them right open and put them well open in space. We're going to have we're going to be able, I think we're going to be able to score a lot of points against this defense. Now, it's all predicated that our offensive line holds up, and if our 5 can stop their 4, they're going to bend, and eventually they're going to break, right? So I want to move forward a little bit, and I want to touch when they're on offense a little bit, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
I got to get to 9-10. I'm just going to let this play through. And off sides, motion. Okay. So here we are. 11 personnel, right? There are your 3 receivers, your 1 running back, and your tight end is off the line right here. Okay? So Dallas is in a nickel base, right? Dallas has probably even less than a nickel. Maybe this might even be dime. They're manned up here with the defensive back, right? They got two linebackers, and they got Parsons here on an island, right? So they're really running with 2 or 3-3-5, I guess, would be some sort of nickel or dime base. All right. But you have Chase is out here. Chase is the X. You have Tyler Boyd in the slot, and you have Higgins here. All right. Now, what's the big problem here with this defense? This guy right here, number 11. He's a man amongst boys. Lined up solo on Lyle Collins. They have Joe Mixon here, and we're going to go ahead and watch this. I'll pause it as it goes. Okay. So as they go, looks good right here, right? You have they pick up the block here. You got the guard here. You have Mixon who chips off and gives Lyle Collins a little help here. But I'm going to see if I can stop this. Actually, I'll let this play, and then the next view, I'll be able to really show you how this offense breaks down. So you see the routes that are going out. Tight end who was here, he's going to run out here. And they're lined up. They're pretty much they're playing too deep. They're playing man under, right? They're playing man under defense. So this guy's here. This guy's here. You got your 2 deep safeties. This is strictly a passing down, right? So you got your man under, you got your 2 deep. it was 2nd and 16 at this point, so they knew that they're going to pass the ball. So this is the defense that you're going to put in and say, hey, listen, we know you're going to throw the ball. Throw it. All right, so I'm going to let this go, and then I'm going to show you in the next view what really happens. Okay, so there's your tight end. You got Mixon here. You got Lyle Collins here. Parsons is here. I'm going to play it, and I'm going to pause it as it goes. So go for the snap.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
1, 2, stun.
Yeah. So you have a little play over here, right?
Yep.
They bring the stunt here, but it's picked up well. All right. You have the chip here. This right here, can you see this arrow? That's Lyle Collins. I'm going to bring it back a little bit. Watch Lyle Collins here. I'm going to try to go nice and slow. Just watch Lyle Collins the whole time. Okay? He gets the chip. Look at him.
Oh my gosh.
Flying away.
Okay.
Flying away. Now, is it Lyle Collins is that bad or Parsons that good? I don't know. The rest of the line looks like it's holding up. But if you count, and I'm going to bring it back again.
So all we have to do is get Micah Parsons on the Jets for this game on Sunday.
Yeah. Now, I want you to just count. I want you to look at Burrow here and just watch his steps.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. He doesn't even get. He goes to it's a 5-step drop,
2, 3.
and before he gets to his 5th drop, Lyle Collins is beat on the inside by Micah Parsons, right? So this tackle here, I forgot who their left tackle
is. That Jonah Williams?
Jonah Williams,
is left tackle.
He's anchored up pretty well, and they're holding up on the middle, but the play is already blown up, right? By 5 before he even got to his 5-step. Look, the receiver's not even out of his break here. This receiver's just getting out of his break, and Joe Burrow's already running for the hills, right? So he dodges that. Lyle Collins comes out and actually, somehow from flying away recovers and, pushes Parsons outside. But by that time, you're already 3 seconds in and there's nowhere to go, right?
Calvary.
Surrounded.
This breaks down right here. And this is what you're seeing the whole time as you're watching Cincinnati's tape versus Pittsburgh and versus Dallas, is that this is very reminiscent to what we saw with Zach Wilson last year, is that he just doesn't have the time to let the play develop, right? 5-step drop, he can't even get to his drop before everything collapses behind him. He's got less than 2.5 seconds before that play folds.
Oh, Quinnen Williams is going to eat if Lawson and the guys on the edge get in there like that. Quinnen Williams is going to eat because the quarterbacks. I mean, we're going to make him step up, and there's going to be Williams waiting for him.
Yeah, and this is a nice little play. All right, they just took what the defense was going to give him. It was 3rd down and long. They gave him the underneath. Again, they see where Parsons is. They put somebody there to pick him up, but that is what Cincinnati has to do. Very quick, 3-step drop, get the ball out. That's good. That's good and bad, because they gain some positive yardage, which is bad. But if you put a couple of those together, you're going to have 1st down. So the Jets have to figure out a way to get to the quarterback with our, we have to continue, or we have to increase the pressure from our edges. And I think this is the game where we're really going to see Carl Lawson take the step up. Hopefully we see more Jacob Martin. I've been very disappointed in what I've seen from Jacob Martin so far in the first 2 games. I mean, limited play, limited snaps, but he hasn't really lived up to the bill of that true pass rush threat that we expected him to be. I'm going to fast forward here a little bit also. Let me find it.
Yeah, this is super informative, man.
Let me get back.
I'm doing my predictions video tomorrow, and Dom, I'm not gonna lie to you. You just up my number and how much we can win based off of watching this video.
Yeah. So here's another one. Now they have trips to the right.
Okay.
You got a single high safety here, right? And this defensive back is off. So from the beginning, it looks like it looks like you're in some sort of a zone, probably a 3 deep zone here. He's going to be in this deep third. He's going to be deep middle. He's going to be deep third. You got the slot man matched here on Tyler Boyd. And let's watch this play develop. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up front, right?
Okay.
Let's watch this play develop. So
okay.
I want. Gosh darn it!
Now you could do like the 10-second back thing too, rather than do the click and drag. I don't know if that'd be
yeah,
easier for you, but you could do that too. Yeah.
I think this is the play before.
Okay.
Sorry, I went too
far.
far.
Yeah, based off the way that play was
There
set
it
up,
is.
that's not what it's okay.
There it is. There it is. So this is if Cincinnati's going to be effective, the way their line's playing, this is what they have to do. Get the ball, find the weak part of the zone, and get it out quick. That's the only thing that they're going to be able to do. And even that, look at Parsons. He almost makes the play there. Now it's incomplete. They just tried to swing it out. Now Dallas drums up some pressure. They add a little guy. They do a little zone, a little man zone blitz in here where they're showing blitz here, and this linebacker is going to drop back. They're manned up all the way across now. This is straight 2 deep man coverage. Let's put your best against our best and see what happens. Great play by Joe Burrow. Did I rewind that too far? Yeah. Here we go. They're showing pressure here. He drops back. They only rush 4, and Joe Burrow just makes a great play. And they called him. They called a late down on that, which I think is bullshit. So they show Van Der Esch here. They show the blitz. They bring back. They only bring 4. A little stunt, and they just stunted themselves right out of the play. So kudos to Joe Burrow. That's where we're going to need the improvement from our linebackers. We're going to need CJ to stay home there. Again, pressure. This is one of the 3 play action passes that they did. And it just developed too slow. This guy here, 56, I mean, he makes a great play. All right. And really, he got in there way too fast. The play is he's going to have to make a decision on which way he's going to attack. Is he going to attack the quarterback? Is he going to drop back? So on and so forth. That's really what the play action read, but he just blows up the play by being too fast. Here they try it again. A little play action, a little quick. Jonah Williams doesn't do anything with that defensive end. The offensive line is in shambles right now. And it's just really, the offense just looks way out of sync. Again, long 3rd down here. And Dallas just gives them everything underneath, knowing that they got to get 12 yards or so.
And the Bengals haven't scored a touchdown in the first half of the season, and they haven't even completed a pass pay more than 24 yards.
Is that the case?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Looking
And
more and more like Joe Burrow's
that Linsanity thing looking more and more possible when it comes to Joe Burrow.
I'll bring one more in if I can find it.
I mean, it just goes to show you, if you don't give a quarterback time, I don't care who you are. I mean, they got to have some amount of time. That's what I've been saying for Zach from last year. And, from a lot of the early part of the season before he got hurt. If you can't give a guy any time for plays to develop, what do you expect? Especially from a rookie. I mean, you got to give him some time.
Yeah.
Sounds obvious, but it's true.
And listen, and like I said, what we're doing good so far on defense. On contrary to Jeremy, to your thoughts on the defense last week, where we're doing good is on the outside. We're secure. I'm concerned on how these guys, if this was the Jets, how we're playing right up here, right? Because this is what's going to make or break our game on Sunday. If we can get pressure, more sustained pressure with our front four here, it's going to give our linebackers a lot more room, a lot more leeway to roam and make plays, right? And if history kind of repeats itself as it has the past 2 weeks, we're going to be able to do that with our front four. Quinton Williams, if he's healthy, and JFM, if he's healthy and if he's playing at full speed, tied in with Carl Lawson and our other edge threats, they're going to be able to make some noise here. They're going to be able to make some noise. The Cincinnati's offense is just not running on full, on full bore. Maybe that'll fix itself. Hopefully not week 3. So here's the last offensive play I'm gonna drum up for you guys. They bring in heavy personnel. Nothing. Right? So every time that they brought in these guys, the extra tight end here on the left, they ran the ball. All right. There was just nothing happening. So this is another one. I don't remember what happened here. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Jonah Williams got beat around the end. You got the running back on this side, but he doesn't chip, and Jonah Williams just gets beat.
Wow, he really got beat. Man.
Yeah. I know it's Micah Parsons, but still.
They got him spread out. They bring a different kind of pressure here.
Oh, that's
a nice play. Nice play, but still 4th down.
Look at that. Dallas makes it look like just nothing in the middle at all.
There's actually a really good play here. Who's that 7? Is that Diggs? Very aggressive at the ball and almost gets the pick. Just a half step late.
Oh, that was close.
That's why he gets a lot of picks.
Yeah. So I think defensively, everything is going to be predicated on us getting, disturbing the rhythm of Joe Burrow. Here's a play where it's a quick 3-step drop, 1, 2, 3. He plants, throws, hits Higgins on the slant, and he's got enough cushion that he's going to make it. That's Cincinnati at its best. That's Cincinnati at its best. So what we need to do is we need to, when they're taking more than a 3-step drop, we need to get pressure on the quarterback, and listen, we have this, we talked about it. We have the skill, the guys up front that can do it. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen this week. It's going to happen this week. So we have a defense that has been very, very forgiving and soft on Cincinnati. And we have an offense that has been playing completely out of sync. That's a recipe for a good day. As long as we can, come to, our offense comes to play like it did against Cleveland, and our defensive line, just does a little bit more. And I'm going to stop it there, guys, and I'll stop sharing. And our defensive line does a little bit more. Why can't I stop sharing?
That's me. I got to do it.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, what did we lose?
Gunny said he had.
I threw Gunny out. Aww.
I was like, wow. I've been waiting this whole time patiently. I do got to bounce, though. My daughter is patiently waiting for me right now to help her finish helping her with her project. She had a late volleyball tournament, but I told her I had obligations to get on live with you guys. Dom, that was a freaking awesome freaking breakdown, bro. Like my preview video tomorrow, I got to make some adjustments because I'm like, man, I'm thinking it's a 1-possession game, one score game. But if we're able to go ahead and attack the whole, if you're seeing it, right? If you're seeing it, I'll be damned. I'll be damned if the freaking Jets coaching staff is not seeing it, because those are some really, really good breakdowns that show us how we can go ahead and potentially get a win here against a really, really talented team.
Listen, there's holes in that defense. That defense doesn't scare me if our offensive line can hold up, because they don't drum up a lot of pressure outside of the front four. I mean, their concept on defense is the same as Salah's, right?
Okay.
Is predicated on drumming up pressure with the front four. If our offensive line can hold up, that defense is going to break. Now, offensively is the flip side. We have to, I'm not concerned. I mean, Joe Mixon's a phenomenal running back, but I'm not concerned so much about the offense, the offense as an entirety as a running game, as I am what the offense can do with those short, quick passes. If we can break if we can break their rhythm, do what we need to. Maybe it calls for a little bit more man on the outside, and we get at the quarterback with our defensive line. Like Cincinnati could be in for a long day, And I'm not saying that that's not my Jet fandom speaking.
No.
That's just like real speak. You know what I mean?
That's watching the tape, breaking it down, and realizing where those weaknesses are at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, look, there are things that we have to watch out for too that they're watching, right? Because what you were showing when they do those quick slants, sometimes, like, one of my concerns is we give a lot of space too often. We don't press. We push our cornerbacks back. So, that they take advantage of that. The other thing is, I think it was Barney Miller in the chat, not Barney Miller, the character from the TV show, but Barney Miller, pointed out that our offensive line got off to a horrendous start game 1 and then bounced back game 2. So, things could, we might come into that game in Cincinnati. Some of these guys might bounce back. And can Carl Lawson at all replicate, or any of our guys replicate, what Micah Parsons does?
Yeah, listen, there's not many people in the NFL that replicate what Micah Parsons does, right? He's special. I tip my cap to the guy. But we can get pressure. You don't have to have Micah Parsons. I mean, Pittsburgh did it, right? Without TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh did it, I mean, their defense is a little bit different. They kind of, they're more predicated around the blitz, which for some reason Ulbrich still does not like to bring an extra guy here or there. But I think if you're going to see it, you're going to see it this week. You're going to see it. You're going to see the front four bring it, and I think you're going to see Ulbrich and Salah drum up something to bring a little bit more heat, because there's clear miscommunication that's prevalent on that offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals, and you're going to have to do something to disrupt the rhythm of Joe Burrow. You get him jittery and you get him scrambling, and you're in his face within 2 seconds. Nothing good happens,
Guys, I'm telling you, I want to see an early blitz in this game. Like when there's an apparent passing situation, make this offensive line work even harder, because they're just expecting that front four rush. Because that's what we typically do on first and second down. It seems like if you do see any creativity from the Jets defense, you don't really see it until third down. Let's try to rattle them early, create more doubts in that offensive line, because they've got good players on the offensive line, but you could have all the best ingredients in the world, but they don't always mix well together.
Mix well. Facts.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Facts.
You can make the best cake, but if you're making like chocolate cake, you're putting soy sauce in it, that ain't working for you.
It's not gonna work. The color might be right. The flavor ain't gonna work.
It looks good from the outside, but when it's time to take a bite, it's not tasting so good.
Not at all.
So yeah. So let's get creative. Let's get a little bit more creative and a little bit more aggressive to start the game. And that MetLife Stadium is going to be energetic. Let's make it even more energetic by getting off to a great start and grabbing a lead, which we've only had for 22 seconds in 120 minutes of football this season. How about that?
Gentlemen, I hate to leave. I got to roll out. She's sitting at the top of the stairs like that. I got to get this thing done.
All right,
everybody, have a good night. Always a pleasure, man. Chaos, appreciate you for having me. As always go
man.
Jets.
All right, Gunny.
Make sure you all subscribe to New York Jets Situation Report. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you go over there and subscribe to this man's channel, because he's amazing.
I appreciate the love, man. Appreciate the love. Y'all have a good night, gentlemen. I'm gonna still keep watching because I'm just addicted. It is what it is. Good night, boys.
We're very addictive. Yes, we are.
Later, guys.
Later. So I think I think the keys for us, like I said, is we got to be able to fix what's happening in the back middle of our defense. Whitehead and LaMarcus Joyner have really been substandard to this point. They got to up their game. I'm not necessarily so concerned. Cincinnati hasn't showed me anything in 2 weeks worth of tape that their run game is their run blocking is anything that I have to be overly concerned about. So if we can, shore up what we need to in the deep middle, and we can apply the appropriate pressure, whether it's by drumming up blitzes, bring a Michael Carter off the corner, do this or that, or just let our Lawson revenge game, exactly, Nolte. Let Lawson and JFM and Jermaine Johnson do their magic on the edge. I think we're good. I think we're good. I rarely feel confident. I do. I mean, that's just the way I am. Like in everything, there's always something about me like, oh, well, this, if this goes wrong, we're screwed. I feel pretty confident. I like our chances. I like our chances this week.
And you mentioned the run blocking. I'm looking at Joe Mixon's stats partially because I have him in our fantasy league, and he's averaging 3 yards a run. 3 yards a run, 46 attempts, 139 yards, one run over 20 yards all season. I mean, it's not just the pass blocking; the run blocking stinks on this team. It stinks.
The offense is in shambles. I'm telling you, this is a Zach Taylor problem. This team is. They have too much talent to be producing and playing the way they are. When it comes down to that, it comes to ill preparation and bad coaching.
And I hope we can't say the same about our defense. Yeah, because some. Go ahead.
Another thing with after last year, how do you explain that? They make a run to the Super Bowl, and now suddenly they don't know how to coach or like straighten up their offense.
Now, listen. You brought in 3 new pieces on that offensive line, So we talk about it as Jets fans all the time. Like we have to see this line gel, Mm-hmm. Usually not until 6, 7, 8 weeks that they get, kind of running under the running at the right speed. So maybe this will all adjust and fix itself. Remember Cincinnati didn't come out like barnstormers last year. They were very average in the beginning, and then second half of the season, they picked it up.
It's true.
So
it's true. They had some streak. They were streaky, but they had bad and good. They weren't. Yeah, it was a run at the end that really made that whole thing happen, right? I mean, if they would have lost that first playoff game, nobody would have thought about them again.
Yeah.
And if Evan McPherson was anything less than perfect, we wouldn't be thinking of them the way that we do. They wouldn't have gone to the Super Bowl. They would forget about it.
Yeah,
I like our chances. I like the Jets' chances.
I do too.
I feel much more confident than I did going in against Baltimore. And this this offense, they have playmakers, but you can have all the playmakers you want. You can have beautiful windows and beautiful ornaments on a house, but if the foundation is kind of crumbling, then you got nothing. Nolte, my dude. And that's what you got. You got a foundation that's just kind of got some cracks in it right now. So it's up to us. It's up to Coach Sala. It's up to Coach Olbrich. It's up to Coach, LaBooth to really figure out how to, chisel away and make that foundation, crumble.
Yeah, I'm excited. I definitely think the better matchup for us, obviously, is, I'm more excited about our offense against their defense.
Yeah, me too.
Because I'm just excited to see Garrett Wilson come back on the field. I want to see what happens when a team has a week to prepare for him, and then you see what Elijah Moore does, right? Because I feel like they were focused more on stopping Elijah Moore. So Garrett Wilson just went off. But now if you focus too much on Garrett Wilson, then now you're going to have the same problem with Elijah, because I think that he is pretty much a similar product than Garrett Wilson in some ways, like as far as the route running and elusive and hard to cover and creating space.
So Cincinnati also like we do and like Cleveland does. Cincinnati plays sides, right? Their best coverage defensive back is Hilton, who plays in the slot, and he's been very, very good. Now, I don't have it in front of me. Maybe you do, Y2K, or you can look it up. How many last week, Garrett Wilson ran most of his plays from the slot, correct?
It seems that way. Yeah, I mean, I have a website last year that I went to for things like snap counts and formations, but they're not being updated very well this year, so I don't really trust the data. I mean, the thing that I go to for snap counts said that Sauce Gardner and Carl Lawson didn't play last week. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I can't trust this stuff right now.
I'm going to check PFF while we're here to see if I can find it. Let's see, NFL. Jets.
That's the beautiful thing is you could move Elijah to the slot. You could put Garrett Wilson in the slot. You can even put Corey Davis in circumstances in the slot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The goal is I would expect if my there's no facts behind this, but if I remember correctly, I think Garrett Wilson was primarily in the slot. Elijah was outside most of the time, and Corey Davis usually lines up outside. So I think it's safe to assume that those guys lined up that way. So I would be very, very confident in Elijah Moore lining up against Eli Apple on the outside, or Corey Davis for that matter. I mean, I think we could see one of those guys get the lion's share of the targets that went to Garrett last week. You know what I mean?
Right. And I know some fans, you want to see the guys week after week getting big numbers. It doesn't matter. I have no problem rotating. I have no problem if Corey Davis has the big week and the 2 touchdowns and the 120 yards. I have no problem if it's Elijah that has the 100+ game with the multiples, whatever. It just, and then there are games where they just spread it out equally. I don't care. At the end of the day, we just want to have a great offense and move the ball. And however the defense is going to play us, as long as we adjust and play to it, it's fine with me.
Yeah. And that's what we need to see from Zach Wilson when he does come back, hopefully next week. Can he take what the defense is going at him, and is he not getting locked in on one receiver or on one play? That to me is one of the most important things that I could see for Zach Wilson's progression.
Yeah. PFF I'm showing here, and I don't have the PFF premium, so I can't break it down by week. But so far, Garrett Wilson has 44 snaps lined up outside and 34 snaps lined up in the slot. So
okay. 44, 34.
Yeah, he's been predominantly lined up outside, but last week I just remember seeing Elijah split out wide most of the time, and Garrett being the move receiver.
Yeah, I feel like it's this. I feel like it's the same thing, but the weird thing is in college, Wilson played both. He was playing slot primarily in 2020, then outside in 2021. But yeah, to me, it's kind of working. I just like that these receivers are so interchangeable. It's not as if this guy can only be the exit. And you know what? That's what Robert Saleh was talking about, even referring back to Denzel Mims way back when he said he wanted Mims to learn multiple wide receiver positions. These guys can all play these spots.
Sure.
It's no wonder, not that I'm trying to bring the conversation over to Denzel Mims, but it does show why he isn't active for these games.
Yeah.
Because these guys are better suited to play in that offense. That may not be the other case in another offense, but in Mike LaFleur's, it's just what seems to work. And as long as the ball's going down the field and points are going on the board, who are we to argue how it's being done?
Yeah. Elijah Moore has lined up for 136 offensive snaps so far. 105 of those have been split out wide. So Garrett Wilson is has been predominantly in the first 2 weeks, predominantly in the slot. You know, coming off of that big week, I think there's going to be some extra attention paid on him, considering that Mike Hilton is their best cornerback. This could be the Elijah Moore breakout that we saw Garrett Wilson do last week. I wouldn't be surprised.
I would love that
Agreed.
just from the perspective of the headaches it gives the league. It's like, who do you like? It's like put like focus on one. Try to stop this one week, the other explodes. Shift, try to stop the other one explodes. And I mean, these two could just take turns, and then and Corey Davis again, like we saw it's not like the guy doesn't make big plays and catch touchdowns. He's not a big target. As long as he's got like I know we get pissed at the drop passes. Hopefully, we're going to see less of that. But I mean, to talk about Elijah and Garrett that way, and then consider the fact that you still have a Corey Davis. I mean, he's a weapon.
Yeah.
Just embrace the depth. Embrace the depth that we have.
Yeah.
Every time you talk about let's trade this, we could get another draft pick. You trade a guy so often it feels like the next week a guy gets injured, and now you're going to the practice squad to fill the position. Yeah. So just appreciate the depth that we've wanted for so many years.
Yeah, appreciate the fact that if somebody goes down, we still have tons of talent. Like, I mean, Berrios, I think Berrios is an underrated player. I really do. I think for people, especially outside of our organization and our fan base, I don't think people understand. Berrios does everything he's asked to do. He doesn't make mistakes. He does everything in a very refined way. And it's like, it's a good person to have on a squad,
Now,
gamer.
Yeah. Now, obviously, the Jets coaching staff is going to watch the film of the Dallas game. And if they key off of anything, what Dallas did is they played to strength, right? The strength of the Cincinnati defense is up front. The defensive tackles, the linebackers, they're very good, very stout against the run. Dallas did a lot of the jet sweeps and, the swing passes and stuff like that to kind of put the ball in the hands of their playmakers in space, right? So you're not going to see a lot of turnaround and let's see Michael Carter try to jam up the middle for positive yardage, or Bryce Hall up the middle, on those ISO plays. It's not going to get it done against Cincinnati. You got to attack the flank, whether it be on the short, quick passes, the jet sweeps, all that stuff. So Braxton Berrios is very much in play. That's his forte, right?
Yeah. I'm loving it.
Yeah, those two defensive tackles, they're pretty good. DJ Reader and BJ Hill. I think that from what I hear from Bengals fans, like what they're talking about right now, it's like they can't give enough love right now to DJ Reader. That's
so
like their
he has played immensely above his pay grade. Like I know he was a big time free agent that they brought in. He was one of the guys that I think the Jets were talking about. A lot of people saying that they want it for the Jets. But he is DJ Reader's right now. PFF has him ranked as the 4th overall interior defensive lineman. He's got a rush grade. He's got a rush grade of 83.9 and a pass rush grade of 79.5.
Dang.
Yeah.
Wow. He came over from Houston.
The only people he's behind are Chris Jones from Kansas City, Aaron Donald, and Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee. And he's right above Matabuke, who's not nearly the talent that those guys, although, when we played Baltimore, we made Matabuke look like Aaron Donald reincarnate.
It's kind of nice that we could utilize Michael Carter and Bryce Hall, like you were saying, quick outs, like passing, like we can make our running game a short passing game to those guys, right?
That's it. And again, you that's a weakness in the defense, and that's one of our strengths is that we have guys who can get the ball, have the passing chops to catch those swing passes or the passes in space, or the quick outs, or the wide receiver, those wide receiver hitches, or so on and so forth. I could see Bryce Hall lined up lined up wide, and him just taking a step, jab step, come back, little hitch pass, bring the lineman out to block, and I can see Bryce Hall breaking one really long.
And going back to that front four, that's why I'm so encouraged about Elijah Vera Tucker taking another step up this season. Being recognized right now, PFF has him as the 4th overall guard in the NFL out of 70 guards. I've actually got the rankings. I printed out all the PFF rankings for all the Jets, including special teams players. And man, AVT has stepped up so much.
Yeah.
And against these two, I know, Jeremy, I know you were concerned about it, and I understand. But with those two defensive tackles, it's going to matter that much more. And AVT, the fact that we can have that much more confidence in him, that's going to play a big role. I think he's going to really help to neutralize one of those two big boys up front.
I also heard, you take away the penalties, obviously, but aside from those downfield penalties, that McGovern actually played really, really well.
He's a very middle of the road center. I feel like it feels like most Jets fans. There's one contingent that really likes him. There's one contingent that wanted him out the door last week, and just everybody else is just like, okay, fine, whatever. McGovern is. It is kind of weird, and I think it's because as Jets fans, we're just so spoiled by center. As bad as we've had it for so many decades, it seems like we've always been able to turn to the center and say, okay, we got a great one of those. Whether it's John Schmidt, Joe Fields, Jim Sweeney, Kevin Mawai, or Nick Mangold, who's going into the Ring of Honor this weekend, we got to give a little shout out to number 74. I think it's only right to do that. I'll be wearing a number 74 jersey on Sunday. I don't know about you,
me
but
too.
I will be wearing 74 for sure. So we've always had that from center, and the penalties are annoying, but I thought Tomlinson did step up a little bit more. Well, he couldn't have gone much worse after week 1.
Yeah, listen, Tomlinson played great last week.
He was better.
He played great. I mean, one pressure. I mean, comparatively to 9 that he let up against Baltimore.
More assertive, more confident, pushing some blockers back in the run game. I liked what I saw from him because, believe me, I was watching him on certain plays. I don't usually watch guards when I'm watching the game, but I was watching number 78.
Yeah. No. We need Fant to get healthy. I mean, Hendrickson on the edge he's a player for Cincinnati. He
doesn't quite have the speed, though. I think Fant has a little bit more of an issue with speed rushers. Hendrickson's a little bit more about power. I think Fant will be able to handle him a little bit better than he has Matabuke, or however we say his name.
Yeah.
I think Fant will be a little bit better this week. So.
Fant played better week 2 than he did week 1, though, right?
I think the entire offensive line played better week 2.
That's not saying much, but yes, I would agree.
But I'm saying, did Tomlinson bounce back?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Tomlinson played a good game.
It's hard to think of an offensive player who took a legitimate step back in week 2. I mean, you could say maybe Conklin, but I mean, that's
Conklin.
That's about it.
Conklin didn't have the greatest game. Listen, up front at least, the offensive line did a very good job against a very talented Cleveland defensive line. Yes, Max Mitchell let up that one sack, and you can say that it was partial Max Mitchell fault. Jadeveon Clowney's got the reach of the 3 of us put together, and some of it has to be, I'm not trying to point blame, but Joe Flacco's got to know. When he's got to step up, right? Because although Max Mitchell was beat, he still fanned and pushed his guy to the outside. The problem was Joe Flacco didn't see or feel that, so he just stayed put, stationary, like Statue of Liberty-esque. Instead, if he had just taken 2 little, hop steps up, that wouldn't never been an issue. But
they even had 2 hands on the ball, just something like that. He just didn't see it.
Yeah,
but if that's the one time that he was legitimately beat, we didn't expect this from Max Mitchell. We didn't expect him to be starting. Max Mitchell didn't expect to be starting. So
no,
I could take a few growing pains. He's not a liability, and that's about all I could have really asked for 2 games into a season, going up against Baltimore and Cleveland.
Yeah, listen, great. I know what we all kind of have our feelings about PFF, but right now it's really the only standard that we have to go with gradings, and I don't exactly I'm not clear on how they develop them. So by PFF standards, he's been subpar. When you watch him on film, Max Mitchell is exactly what you expect him to be. Exactly what I thought he was going to be. You know, he's on a scale of 1 to 10, he's probably fallen in right about 4 or 5.
4 is about what I had in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how seriously you could take it when they rate Joe Flacco as the 3rd best quarterback statistically in the NFL so far. God bless them, but they don't give a whole lot of Jets love. I mean, some Jets fans, we've had some people a little bit angry at JFM. He's ranked 16th out of 103 defensive ends, and I got to be honest, I can't remember an impact play that he's made yet. Not killing the guy, I just can't remember an impact play he's made in the first 2 games.
Well, that's the thing is that no one on the defensive line has done anything super flashy outside of the sack that Jermaine Johnson had week 1 that, they gave him credit for half a sack. That was a great play. But they haven't done anything flashy, but they've been very workmanlike.
I mean, Alexander's had a good hit or two, in my opinion. There was the Lawson sack or half sack. There was Lawson and Quinnen, I want to say it was.
Yeah.
Is that what it was?
Quinnen's been very good. Quinnen's been phenomenal against the run. I think we've seen a little bit of negative or positive regression, I should say, in the worst way, in the bad sense, at our linebackers. Not Quan. I mean, Quan didn't play as good as he did week 1, week 2, but Mosley and Quincy Williams have not really played that well.
At what point do we see Jamian Sherwood get some playing time when it's not on special teams?
I was shocked he wasn't in because I thought he had a really good camp.
Listen, I said I've always been a Sherwood supporter, and I said coming out of camp, if we get anything out of what he did in training camp, we know that we have our Mike Backer of the future, right? He can hack it. He can hack it. Now, the problem is with this, contract restructure, we're probably committed to CJ for another year.
Yes.
So.
All right, guys. We're at that time. So, Tom C, you got anything going on you want to tell everybody about?
Yeah, I obviously, I'm still writing for greenbeanjetsfan.com. I have a article that will be posted out tomorrow. Talking in funny as we're talking about it, but really diving a little bit deeper into our defense and how we've developed and changed and what we can expect between what we put on the field, the product we put on the field in last year to what we have this year. So I really like the article. I think it's pretty informative, and I hope you guys like it too. You can always catch me on Twitter. I'm going to be putting out a little bit more Twitter-based content, stuff that kind of like we did today, where I find something, I break it down, a little bit more in-depth film study. Usually, my focus is gonna be on our opponents coming up. So a lot of what I looked at a lot of Cincinnati this week. Next week, I'm gonna look at a lot of Pittsburgh. So look forward to that. I'm at you can find me at DC_New York Jets. Hit me up with DM if you've got any questions. I'm always available. Whenever Jeremy asks me to come on, I'll always be here. This is my fam, and I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks. You did an amazing job tonight. Really appreciate the film footage and all that commentary, and that was just great. I think people really appreciated it, and again, like just your knowledge is really appreciated here. Everybody really gets a lot out of it, and
I haven't talked about the draft yet.
Yeah, and you haven't even talked about the draft,
which is a good thing.
It's a good It's a good thing.
I can't handle it. I can't handle draft talk. Next year we need to draft this. It's gonna change in a week. Stop it already. Just stop.
And Adam, what do you got going on? I saw some videos, New York Mets videos, clinching and all that kind of good stuff.
There's been some stuff going out. It was funny. At the Virginia Jets fans event on Sunday, I don't know why, but I decided to turn the video on my cell phone, and I just happened to post our live reaction as Garrett Wilson scored the touchdown that ultimately tied the game right before Zerline kicked the extra point. And it was just a 30-second video. Little did I know that video would rack up 3,700 views on YouTube. Shock the hell out of me. Apparently, I'm going to keep every video about 30 to 45 seconds from now on. So that is now my new goal on my channel. But I did do a little bit on the Rangers trading Nils Lundqvist as, hey, hockey training camps are getting ready to open up. So I'll be doing a little bit on that. Talked a little bit about the Mets yesterday. I think it's 11 games left to go in the season for the Mets before the playoffs start. So I'll be doing a little bit of content on that. So, you know what? There's so much going on that this is like the fun time. There's so much going on that never going to be a lack of content. But when I did the Sunday sports sermon, I decided just on a whim to start doing confidence picks. My dad and I have been doing a confidence NFL pick pool for about 15 years now. So you pick each game outright, and you rate them from 1, the game you have the least confidence in the outcome, to 16 on a full week, the one you have the most confidence in, and you try to get as many points as possible. So I'm going to start doing those online. I'm going to start doing a separate video for those. I'm not sure if it's going to be out Friday or Saturday, but probably one of those days. And I'll keep doing my 5 bold predictions before every game. And I'll be doing the 3 plays you might not remember that affected the outcome of the game. I did that on Sunday night, so this last time. So I'm going to try to keep a consistent schedule with when I put these out. But I do think it's going to be Sunday night, the day of, for the 3 plays. The picks, I think it's going to be Saturday, and I'll probably do my bold predictions on Friday. So I'm thinking that's the way it's going to go from now on.
Okay. Hey, Braden. Good to see you, my
Braden!
friend.
Hey, Braden.
We love you, Braden. Hey, Braden, I want to tell you something, Braden. If you can get into a Jets game, I promise you I'll do everything in my power to fly out to New York and go to that game. If you're there. If you can go to a Jets game, and we'll go to a Jets lounge tailgate, because I think they're going to do it every home game now, I'm hoping. Or if not, we'll just go to Nick, because I think even if he doesn't have tickets to the game, I think he does the tailgates.
He'll find a way.
So he finds a way. He gets into the parking lot so he can do his tailgate.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I got to talk to Nick. I know he's tailgating. He's got his pig roast. Is he going to the game also?
I don't know. That's the thing. He told me that whether he goes to the game or not, it doesn't matter. They go in to do the tailgate.
Yeah.
So,
I'm not going to the game, so I might have an extra ticket if he needs one. I'll be happy to put it to him.
Yeah, well,
Tom, you got a wall down there just lined up with extra tickets to just give away. It's just like you get a ticket, you get a ticket, everybody gets a ticket.
So here's how it works, Adam. Okay. I have a singular ticket, a single season ticket that I've had for years and years and years, and I also split 4 with a buddy of mine. What I do normally is I sell my singular ticket, which is in section 218, all the way in the back. And I don't, I don't sell it. I don't gouge anybody, but I sell it a little bit more than what I buy it for, and kind of subsidize the the tickets that I pay for in the seats that I have. So what we do is, for the 4 tickets that I have, that I split with my friend, we each pick 4 games. So he'll go to 4 and I'll go to 4. So I always have 4 for 4 games. I have 4 tickets.
Well, if Braden goes, I will, like I said, I will look into it and do everything I can to go, even if it's just fly in and fly out. But it's also nice to know that if I come in, I don't want just a ticket, Dom. If I ever can come in to New York for a game, I'm hoping there's a way I can sit with you and watch the game. So, yeah, that would be my wish.
Thanksgiving weekend, come in for the Chicago game, man.
If I can somehow get a reasonable rate, maybe I will. I'm off that whole week, so
yeah, it's a good weekend. That's why I'm saying. That's why I suggested it.
Yeah. If I can get a decent rate, maybe fly on odd, weird days. But it's cool to know, man. How come when I lived in New York, I didn't know a guy like you that can always just magical provider of tickets. Also, the Jet Lounge, because they're always like between Nick and the Jet Lounge, it's like great that I never have to worry about tailgate. Like I go early and I got 2 places that have a nice. welcoming invitation to. So it's really.
I
cool.
used to think back in the day, because if I was ever to go to a Jet game, it's like, geez, I'm not going to know anybody. I'm going to have to do the railgating and all that kind of stuff. But I'm glad I wouldn't have to worry about that again.
We'll never have to worry about that anymore. So Jet Lounge, just so everybody knows, anyone else listening, I meant to say this earlier. Jet Lounge will be in the same parking lot D again. They will be there this week, as well as Nick doing a pig roast in his spot. But Jet Lounge will be there in D, Gate D. Sack Exchange will be there cooking up all his good food. That's my wife. She must be in the cab in New York right now, heading into Manhattan. So hi, sweetie. Anyway, yeah. So those of you who are interested in tickets, go to Jet Lounge on Twitter. They have an information page there where you could find out, or you could just reach out to Sack Exchange and figure it out. But make sure that you find out about their tailgate. And then if some of you want, you could reach out to Proud New York Jets fan, to Nick, and find out about his pig roast. But anyway, everybody here in our family community, you have options. You don't have to bring your own food or be alone or just come right before the game. You have 2 tailgates you could choose from that are going to be very welcoming and offer friendship, good people, good times, and all that good stuff.
Hey, one quick thing before we head out. I'm actually hosting trivia this weekend at the Virginia Jets fans game. So the winner's going to be getting a $20 gift card. Nice. So obviously, since I doubt anybody in the chat or here is going to be in Norfolk this weekend, how about I give you guys one quick question?
Sure.
Okay. The theme is going to be the 2021 Jets season. So I got increasing levels of difficulty. So I'll just give you the tiebreaker question. The question is, how many passing touchdowns did the Jets throw in 2021?
Well, Zach had 9. How many did Mike White have in the Mike F. and White game? Did he have 3?
He had one against Indianapolis before he got hurt, so that would be 4. That's
okay.
13.
That's 13.
And then what about Johnson?
Johnson. I know he threw for 300. I don't know how many touchdowns he had.
Josh Johnson.
I'm gonna say 15.
I'm gonna say 17
for the season. Okay. Looking to see if anybody says anything in the chat. All right, not bad. The correct answer is 20. 20 total touchdowns for the season. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Which isn't that impressive when you factor it's a 17-game season. But it was 20 total, so that's going to be the tiebreaker question for Sunday. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, guys. I will again, me and Adam will be doing our thing for Green Bean tomorrow for Thursday Thick of It. You'll definitely see Adam do trivia. You might see me at the end. I'll be back. I'm helping out in the back. And as far as I know right now, we're on for Sunday. Sunday's that busy day where you can just throw up from so much of me, because we'll be me and Green Bean will be doing the game live, calling the Jet game. And then after the game, about 10 minutes later, me and Adam and some others will be on Buffalo's channel doing the post-game show. And that's always fun. And then I hop over and join my brother on this channel, and we do the 49ers game or whatever, like a red zone type thing. If the 49er game is boring, we jump and do some other games. So I'll be on like crazy on Sunday. Might jump in and do a surprise show, a call-in show or something before that. But thank you, everybody, for still here, everybody that was here tonight, everybody that watches later, because I know there are a lot of people that watch this after the fact. Appreciate everyone. Appreciate all the support. You guys are the best. Thank you to both of you guys again, to Dom and Adam. Thank you to Gunny. Guys, made a great show tonight. I appreciate you all. And we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Be safe. Finish off the rest of the week and get to the weekend. Let's do it.
Go Jets.
Go Jets. Oh, yeah. Oh, Oh, yeah. Go. Amazing. That's my boy. That's my boy.
He breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds, too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beat Cincinnati.